Looks like these roaches sitting here at the gold. This gold is ready to be taken whenever a Zerg player wants to, if he decides to do so. As there are a couple of banelings mixed in with this army, and will the Terran player move into that? Looks like he's just going to be elevating up into the main, as this medevac has ferried the Marines up here, as one Overlord does lose its life, and now our Zerg player is supply blocked, so that is pretty effective, as these Zerglings are going to be chewing away at Marines. They do manage to get back into the medevac, and all of them survive. So that's very good for the medevac and those Marines, as unfortunately the medevac was almost taken out as well. Going to be dropping those units down to heal them back to full health. This one medevac will have her work cut out for her, as tanks siege on the low ground will have vision, especially with the medevac providing that high ground sight. As here we go, these Mutalisks trying to fly in here to take out one Marine, as these Marines are going to die, stimming and then just getting chewed away, so that was unfortunate for them. Looks like the Terran player content to just sit here at the base of his Zerg opponent's ramp, as he is taking his third base over here, a newly built command center, not quite yet an orbital, but will be morphing as soon as it lands, I would assume. As it looks like the Terran player is still going to be elevatoring up here with Marauders and Marines, trying to get a foothold here inside the main base of our Zerg player, but he's going to be able to muster up, the nice number of, oh wow, a Hellion up here does roast, actually nope, no damage done, as there weren't enough Hellions to one-shot drones, and all of those forces get annihilated. So our Terran player is just getting, outmatched right here, as our Zerg player doing this perfectly, waiting for those Terran forces to overcommit, and then sweeping them away with these Mutalisks. So our Terran players had some serious trouble at this point, as those Marines are just sitting ducks to these Mutas whenever they get too far out of the range of their tank support and of the medevac support. As there are a bunch of banelings here, if they do optimal damage, our Terran player is going to be in some serious trouble, as those banelings, only about half of those would be needed to take out everything you see on the field right now for deadama. So deadama definitely needs to be careful, because if he misplays this, he might be blown out of the water, as a couple of Marines up here just get annihilated by some Mutas. And these roaches over here will be taking out this contingency of Marines as well, and it might be time to leave. And yes, deadama does decide that it's not worth it. Leaving behind 2 Marines and a Hellion, those will get roasted and chewed away. As here comes the Zerg player, HayprO is moving across the map, these banelings rolling as deadly green balls of acid. They are not burrows, so they are not deadly green landmines, more like deadly green bouncy balls, just rolling all the way to our Terran player's base. Going to be making a missile turret, but that will not be effective by itself, as our Zerg player will soon be on a critical mass of roaches. Keeping a look on the production tab, we do have armor and melee attacks level 1 for our Zerg player, for those Zerglings on the ground. Our Terran player just trying to remuster up an army. He does have his natural expansion pretty well defended, but unfortunately this third base, only that planetary in the way of defense here. And here comes the Zerg forces, going to be attacking this planetary with everything he has. Zerglings up in the front will be chewing up everything they see. Banelings, if they get loose inside this middle line, will be able to completely take SCVs out. As there they go. Banelings actually popping on the planetary fortress, and that is completely annihilated in very, very quick fashion. And the Zerg player is double expanding behind this pressure, neutralizing that third base. That planetary never had a chance against this massive swarm of Terran, or Zerg units rather, as both these hatcheries just now starting, so he will shortly be on 5 bases, and deadama is definitely in the hole right now, has some work to do, as these tanks going across the map get intercepted by some roaches. One tank does lose its life. Here comes a mass of Marines, over 1 full tab of them, almost another full tab as well. These roaches will be forced to turn tail and run. About half of them do get taken out in the process. These Mutas still flying overhead, trying to rally up with these roaches, and then they might turn around and make a stand against these Marines. And here they go, a bunch of banelings. If these Marines are not careful, they do stim out and run away, because if they misstepped a couple of more inches into the Zerg player's territory, they would have gotten banelings in the face. And here come the banelings and the Zerglings up in the front. The Marines have to get some nice split up, a decent split right there by deadama, but these banelings do roll up in there and take out the majority of those Marines. Fortunately for HayprO, deadama was not able to split those up too well, as these tanks are taken out by Mutas as well. So deadama got, really badly crippled right there in that battle, as he is losing the supply count right there. They are both right there at 150 APM, and actually it's pretty even in the resources lost tab, because of course those banelings, even though they do damage, they do get taken out as well, so they contribute to the resources lost tab. There are a lot of banelings going off on the Zerglings. Oh my goodness, it has Zerglings fly in, or rather the Mutalisks fly in, and Zerglings more appropriately flooded, and all of these Terran units get rapidly eaten and blown away. That's really bad for deadama, as now he is losing the resources lost battle with advent of all of these Zerglings taking out tanks and then straight up morphing into banelings right afterward. So our Terran player is on deadama to muster up a force for defense before the Zerg player moves out. Will he be able to do so? We'll have to wait and see. As this command center going to be going to that goal, or not goal, the third expansion once again, probably going to be a planetary once again. He'll have to defend that a little bit better than he did previously, or it'll just meet the same exact fate as last time. Both these hatcheries having popped for our Zerg player going to be populating this 4th base. That 5th base doesn't quite yet have any drones at it yet, as our Zerg player's composition is just a bunch of banelings on the ground with a bunch of mutalisks in the air. Our Terran player still loses the supply battle. If HayprO moves out right now, he might be able to end this, but it looks like he is content to just sit here and muster up his forces just a little bit more, as now the meters are going to be moving in, trying to find something to attack. Hay2 take out a Marine at the watchtower. That will alert deadama to the fact that he needs to do something. Looks like he has some thoughts of moving out with this small force of Marines, a couple of medevacs in the air, and then a few tanks as well. They will be met with some mutas and Zerglings and now banelings as well, and the Marines stim up and run out of there. They need to do everything they can to not just get blown up by everything that they see. More mutas being constructed by our Zerg player as well, and here we go. He has a very healthy composition of mutas, lings, and banes, as tanks are sieged up, but they are really out of position. If our Zerglings just flood in here, they'll be able to take those tanks out. But the mutas, you know, so much easier for mutas to take out tanks because, of course, the tanks can't fight back. Both those tanks get taken out, and Marines trying to make the mutas pay for what they just did, but there are not enough Marines to counteract that many mutas. And this might just be the death knells. As soon as HayprO moves out, it is going to be some serious trouble for our Terran player. Tanks are sieged up, trying to do some damage up here. One of them actually not sieged up, but here come the Zerg forces, going to be just steamrolling through everything they see in deadama's base. They'll be taking it out. Those tanks and those Marines as well. One missile turret valiantly defending this base against those mutas, but the mutas turn around and say, "What are you doing, man?" and take those out. Still banelings loose all up here in the natural. One of them pops inside the middle line, and the rest of them are going to be flooding into the middle line. Oh my goodness, these SCVs are going to die. And that is not very great at all. That is 29 workers killed right now by our Zerg player. So definitely in some trouble is deadama at this point in the game. Still very even in the resources lost battle, as all those banelings did blow themselves up to try to do some damage. So we'll see if HayprO is able to seal the deal. He has a healthy supply lead still, or if he might allow deadama to get back into this game, as deadama has been scrambling for the past 10 or so minutes, just trying to muster up forces after one army after another gets annihilated by this Zerg composition. As our Zerg player is content to just sit back, get some more banelings, get some flyer attacks level 1 upgraded. He's drones not doing anything right here. It looks like maybe some drop play happened right there, taking out that expansion. Unfortunately for our Terran player, that wasn't the most important expansion of all, because there really aren't enough drones to populate all the expansions HayprO has anyway. So he allowed that expansion to be taken out, but then neutralized the drop play pretty quickly after that. As here we go, a couple of more medevacs going to be flying up here. Banelings running in here don't actually do too much damage. So good defending right there as they do flood in and take out a couple of Marines. But those banelings all do lose their lives, so not the most effective banelings ever. Here come the mutalisks, however, and now these tanks are in some serious trouble because they cannot fight back. The mutas are just having their way with tanks and medevacs. This is a full tab of mutas right about. Going to be taking out these tanks. Run, tanks, run! You need to get out of there and try to stay alive. This one tank managed to survive with 2 hit points. Marines sacrificing their lives to try to save that tank, but deadama will GG out of this game as he was just completely overwhelmed by the constant stream of Zerg forces today in this game, now losing the resources lost battle by about 3,000. So very well done by HayprO. I hope you guys enjoyed this game and the previous 2 games as well that I casted of HayprO. That is all I have from HayprO, so the HayprO binge is now over. At any rate, I will continue to cast some more because I still have some more games lined up, so I will see you guys next time.